There is a growing pressure right now that is expected every single professional to be ready to work with AI. So everyone should learn AI somehow. So the courses and the certifications, they are spread a lot. It is just like, and I always use this example, it's just like Agile when it became popular. People start looking for courses and certifications, and the whole market starts to grow around this topic. Selling certifications, selling courses, selling frameworks, selling consultancy for companies implement those things. And now with AI, it's not different. Uh, the problem is we are seeing a lot of different knowledge gaps being announced by the companies, and a lot of companies also trying to fill this gap with those courses, the certifications, everything. But we are not, it seems we are not asking the right questions when it comes to what should you focus on right now, or what are the companies expecting from you when they are hiring. Foxit published a study on March, now beginning of 2026, with a number that is super relevant to this discussion. 89% of executives are saying that AI increased productivity. So Foxit trying to understand what is this increase in productivity. And they measure that in hours. And the number is 16 minutes per week. It's impressive, right? That was published by Business Wire now in March. And the research with those executives showed that this gain of only 16 minutes, it's because people are spending a lot of time to validate, to prove that the result from AI is good, is valid, they need to make some corrections. And the difference between how fast it was to create the result and the time that you need to validate those results, it's not showing this big gain in the productivity. 16 minutes per week is the average. But of course, it's quite naive to not think that this is going to improve over time, and very fast actually, because people are gaining more trust on the AI result. They know what they need to validate, where they need to confirm things, and where they can start trusting more. And then you are going to have more mechanisms to automate that kind of verification as well. The same way that tests were automated in the software development over time. But a research from McKinsey would show that at the same time that we see this call for increasing the productivity in the companies, there is a demand for AI fluency, which is basically the ability to use those new tools to write code using AI, or basically to implement that in the way that you are working. And that is growing 7 times in just the last 2 years. It's growing super fast. So many different skills are being required, and we do not have still, according to this study, the right way to measure that. You cannot measure that based only on certifications or in the diploma or what is your degree. Things are evolving so fast that the companies are putting more value on the skills that you had, the experience that you had with AI and those different kind of technologies, and not only your certifications. Actually, certifications and degrees are going to a second level right now, when companies are actually looking for your real experience, what you can prove that you did, and again, what is your expertise by using those new technologies. The problem is that this is creating, of course, some anxiety for people. And then I study from Harvard Business Review with the Boston Consulting Group, also now in March 2026, did a study with 1,500 workers, showing that for those using 3 or more AI tools to increase their productivity, they are unfortunately increasing at the same time the fatigue of their brains. And basically, Harvard is calling this moment, or those brains affected by AI fatigue or brain fatigue because of AI, they are calling this AI brain fry. The brain of people are being fried by this rush on learning AI, and not, again, not gaining productivity is quite obvious if you think that people are rushing to understand what is happening, rushing to test things, and there's not enough time to validate or to measure what is actually delivering results and what is just a hype. And then finally, the last data for this reflection that is relevant in the same topic is the report made by LinkedIn. It's called LinkedIn Skills on the Rise for 2026, and is showing that employers are prioritizing skills over degrees and job titles. So it's again back to the point that McKinsey raised about being influent on something or having the skills. So not necessarily having a degree or a certification or a job title. It's showing that you can do more important than the things you can prove with certificate right now. The problem is, and that's the first reflection that I have here, is how companies are going to measure this. Because if people are frying their brains with AI and companies are expecting people to know that, who is saying that the companies know what they are doing with AI as well in order they can measure people that they are hiring to their business, how they are going to measure that? That's my first question. If someone is saying that they can code using AI, what it means? It means you can produce a lot of lines of code and build something, but who is saying that is building something with quality? Who is proving that you can deliver results on all these different kind of knowledge that you have? So from a leadership and hiring perspective, that is one of my concerns. But then from a career perspective, of course, and I'm saying this in the content that I write, knowing something is more important than proving that you know something. That is for sure. There's no question about that. I've been saying that, for example, all the certifications that I have in project management, they are important from a CV perspective and to be filtered in a best way, but they are not relevant if arrive in a room, I have a conflict and I don't know which techniques I can use to solve this conflict, or I have a problem in the scope and I need to use my negotiation skills to improve that and move forward, or I have an escalation and I need to work with stakeholders. If that is when project management skills are going to be put on proof. It's not more the certifications that are important, but it's still this is a way to measure knowledge and capacity from a filter perspective, at least. So there's no question that the skills are much more important than having the certificates and the degrees. But again, back to how companies are going to measure is where I have my concern. Because look into this number from Foxit research, where they are saying that AI is just increasing productivity in around 16 minutes. I get quite concerned when I connect this information with the Harvard data saying that people are frying their brains just to learn things. And I mean, why companies think that they are more prepared than those people, or who in those companies are saying that, in a way that they can measure skills and abilities more than certificates and degrees. Again, I'm repeating myself, I know. Bear with me, but how how can we expect that those people who are in a hiring position are more prepared right now, knowing what is going to generate more results to the company, what is more important from a skills and ability perspective, if we are rushing in this hype at the same time for the people doing it and for the business applying it. And then finally, I still want to reinforce what I said, that I of course agree, and I fully agree that having the skills and the preparations are much more important than certificates itself. I have people in my team working with different kind of technology that they don't have anything to prove that they are good on that, and they are just the best on that. But they have the experience in doing that, so they can prove through the projects they work with that they can actually do things and deliver results on those topics. I think that there is still a lot to be discussed here, and the discussion and the reflection is super open for the companies and the people working on those different kinds of AI technologies to understand how you, as a worker, as an employee, can prove the value of your knowledge and the skills that you are building on those technologies, and how you, as a manager, how you representing the company that's hiring, you can identify the talents who actually have the skills and abilities that you need around AI fluency to join your company.